Well, I can't say I'm surprised that we're doing a live show about Erik ten Hag being sacked. I am surprised it's come within 45 minutes of us having a conversation this morning. But David Ornstein and The Athletic and Fabrizio Romano all revealed that Manchester United were considering sacking Erik ten Hag. Then The Athletic confirmed it and David Ornstein confirmed it. And now the club has officially confirmed two things. I'm going to read through the official statement that has just happened now. Erik ten Hag has been sacked by Manchester United with immediate effect, and Ruud van Nistelrooy has been appointed as interim manager with the same backroom staff. I'll run through the official statement. I'll run through what's been reported. I cannot say it was a surprise. I was sitting here preparing my video for lunchtime today, trying to explain to you why I've reached a point where I don't think there's a return. Manchester United reached that exact same conclusion. This is the Athletics article, and this is the official club statement. All right, I'll run through both of them now, and you can let me know what you think in the comments. David Ornstein 2 minutes ago. Erik ten Hag has been sacked as Manchester United manager. He was informed on Monday morning and leaves Old Trafford after 2.5 years in charge, where we're 14th in the table. The club are now working on next steps with former striker Ruud van Nistelrooy recruited as an assistant in the summer, now coming in as manager. And here is the official club statement. All right. Let me read through this. I'll zoom in for you so it's a little bit bigger. Erik ten Hag has left his role as Manchester United's men's first team manager. Erik was appointed in April 2022 and led the club to 2 domestic trophies, winning the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. We are grateful to Erik for everything he has done during his time with us and wish him well for the future. Ruud van Nistelrooy will take charge of the team as interim head coach, supported by the current coaching team, whilst a permanent head coach is recruited. That is the official statement from Manchester United that was released about 6 minutes ago. We've reached that point again with another manager that I had so much belief in that didn't work out. But I have to say this is the correct decision at this time. All right? And I've said it the whole way through. Right? I've said it the whole way through that if Erik ten Hag goes, Manchester United will not rush to make a change. Manchester United will not rush to appoint a replacement for Erik ten Hag. And Manchester United have not rushed. They are going to have Ruud van Nistelrooy in as the interim coach until the end of the season. Aaron, you're saying down there it's a very brief statement. Karen saying you got what you wanted, Sam. I got what I wanted, Karen. It's funny you're called Karen, actually. But no, I wanted Erik ten Hag to be successful. I was desperate for him to be successful. That Newcastle game and that build-up, everything that I wanted, and I thought he should have kept the job for this season. However, there was no progress at all. We were heading in the wrong direction. We have 1 win in 8. We are 14th in the league. We are 21st in the Europa League. I didn't see where any change was coming from. And neither did Manchester United. Now, this is breaking news, okay? This has just happened now, and I'm going to cover it as much as I possibly can. Anybody who's just tuning in here, this is the official statement that has just come from Manchester United. He has been sacked. Now, that's going to cost a lot of money. Given the cost cuttings at this club, geez, that was probably something that really did affect their thought process. Lou, let's see how quickly fans turn on Ruud van Nistelrooy. Are we really going to have these conversations right now? Wow. Let me quickly pull up a picture of Ruud. I should have got this up, sorry. 1 second there. You know what I fully expect to happen? There's going to be a bounce. There is going to be a bounce. We've got Leicester. Ruud van Nistelrooy is in charge of Manchester United for Leicester on Wednesday. And you know what they've done here? Ineos have made this decision as quickly as possible on Monday to give Ruud van Nistelrooy a home game against Leicester in the League Cup before we play Chelsea. There will be a bounce. All right? There was a bounce with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Bounce to the point where he got himself the full-time job. Ineos will not rush into a decision. Now, this is going to piss you off. Not all of you, but some of you are going to get really frustrated at how long Ineos are probably going to be taking to appoint a new head coach. But this will be Ineos's head coach. They decided during the summer to stick with Erik ten Hag. They decided that after the FA Cup, I say they, Dave Brailsford and Jason Wilcox decided that after the FA Cup, Erik deserved the opportunity to prove that progress and development could come this season, that the FA Cup final wasn't just a one-off, that despite the fact that we had finished 8th in the Premier League, despite the fact that everything, 9 seconds there, got to turn those off, despite the fact that Manchester United finished 8th, were awful, that we can build on that FA Cup, and if we have a strong summer as a football club, that Erik, you can bring that development this season that we wanted to see. And he was given that opportunity. And there's going to be people that feel that United are just repeating the same old problems and the same old patterns. This is different. In my opinion, not everyone's going to agree with me here. But this is going to be... We're not in the same pattern as we were before. We're not looking at the Glazers and John Murtough making decisions. Now, there's people who are annoyed that Ineos gave him the chance to start this season. I thought that was the right decision. And I'm not going to change on that. And now, not everyone agreed with me on that one. But Erik is gone. Theodore, I'm going to read some of your comments here. Theodore saying he wasn't capable. Don't worry, it's the right decision, says Mo. Zidane incoming. Well, the conversations will now be open on United People's TV about new managers and what goes forward. But in the short term, I expect there to be a bounce, and I expect there to be a buzz, and I expect Manchester United to come out against Leicester in probably a similar fashion to how we came out against Cardiff. 5 goals we scored in that game, and players felt unlocked. Players looked unlocked. The same ones that seemingly were shackled under Mourinho burst into life under Solskjaer. And I expect those same players... Well, look, we weren't exactly shackled against West Ham. They just... Because of everything that's going on up there, they made the difficult things impossible and the simple things difficult. I don't expect that against Leicester, and I don't expect that against Chelsea. And I expect there to be a buzz and a rush. Can I just say this about Erik, man? Erik ten Hag in that first season came into a shower of shit of a football club. A club that was going through conversations over a takeover. A club that had player power right at the top. And Ronaldo should never have come back to the football club. And dealing with everything that went on there. All credit to him at the start. And how he got Manchester United playing in that second season. First season, sorry. Jeez. Second season, I'll speak about next. First season was a credit. There were problems. But there was so much I thought we could build on. And the second season, now, the summer... Obviously, where it went wrong, Mason Mount. Shouldn't have spent 60 mil on him. And the tactical direction of the second season collapsed. And Erik ten Hag was directly responsible for that. And we continued. And it just got worse. But the FA Cup showed we could do it. And he was afforded the third season opportunity. And 25% roughly of the way into the season, Ineos have decided, no, we're not seeing enough development. And Ineos have reached this point at the exact moment I did. My video title today was going to be why I feel time is over for Erik ten Hag. And here we are instead having a live conversation because he's been sacked by the club. I'm going to go and read some of your comments out down here. As I said, this is the official statement that has just been released. Irish saying, players throw another manager under the bus yet again. When will the players take responsibility? It's the right decision all the same by Ineos. I don't agree with that comment at all. I don't think in the same way I've looked at the end of Rangnick as an interim manager, or Solskjaer, or Mourinho, or Van Gaal. Towards the end of those reigns, I just looked at these players and thought, they're throwing them under the bus. I look at these players now and I think, they're genuinely trying. It's just not coming off. What is going wrong mentally? I don't think it's players downing tools. I think it's been confusion, partly, and also the players just being crap. Just helps if you're better footballers. That was what was wrong against West Ham. It wasn't players downing tools. They were just naff at their job. I completely disagree with the idea that another set of players, and a lot of it is Erik Ten Hag's players. Anyway, Alex is saying this is no different to when Solskjaer was sacked. Only becomes different if his permanent replacement is given time. Writing this season off. I don't see how this season could have, hypothetically, if Erik Ten Hag continued, I don't see how or where the change came from. That's why I personally felt that time was up. And Ineos felt the same thing. Should Rue get a serious... Of course, Rue will have the opportunity to prove himself. But the idea of Rue getting a full-time job terrifies me. Because of what happened with Solskjaer. And we have to remember that because there's going to be a buzz coming. All right? And after what we've seen, it's not going to be hard for all that buzz to come. Couldn't we wait until November, says Finn? Ineos have decided not to. And that's why they've made this decision at the start of the week on the Monday to give. Otherwise, it would have been, if they just made the decision later in the week after Leicester, then Rue would have had, 2 days to play Chelsea? Don't know. Let me see what's saying down there. Rue must leave too. What? Geez, some comments are mad. Rex is saying, maybe the circumstances are different, but the outcome is the same. The manager cycle starts again. It's hard to support this circus of a club. The cycle has started again. But what is going on behind is totally different. This will be the first manager appointed by Omar Berrada and Dan Ashworth. Erik Ten Hag, as I said, he was afforded the start of this season. He was afforded a quarter of this season to prove to Ineos that development and progress was coming. And instead, we've won one ladies and gents, we've won one in our last 8. The game there against West Ham was pretty much a carbon copy of the game against Palace that happened 7 games ago, where United controlled the first half, dominated with chances, but then didn't change in the second half. It all repeated itself, and there was a 7-game gap in between those. That's not development or progress. That's the same mistakes. And that's why Ineos have pulled the plug. Now, I'm going to go and see if there's anything else being said or anything else actually coming. I can't believe they've done that. Boy, that's a lie. I can. I'm surprised that it's happened as quickly as it's happened. I think that's what's shocked me today. Well, given that we've seen Ineos taking their time. Now, I'm going to read some more of your comments out down here. If you're new to United People's TV, please get involved. I try and interact with as many of you as I possibly can. How many managers have we been through because the players won't play for them? People, please don't keep this narrative up. I think this narrative is so false. On this occasion, I think you could justify this with the argument towards the end of Mourinho or all the other managers. These players were not throwing Ten Hag under the bus. At no point have I thought that. In really any time with watching Erik Ten Hag, the amount of times that we've come back from the brink under Erik Ten Hag, they just couldn't do it this time. I don't think they were throwing him under the bus, and I've never really thought that. JC, what are you saying? You're saying mixed feelings. He stood up to all and kept his dignity. However, Mount, Anthony, etc. would have been forgiven if tangible progress would have been made. Erik had his chances to play, as I say, get on with it or go. There's going to be part of me, right? This is going to be a weird one, right? There's going to be part of me which is pissed off at the buzz I know is coming. There's going to be part of me that knows that when I'm watching us play against Leicester and I'm seeing different things, and it's going to be like, why couldn't you have just done that under Erik? And it's a real mixed fit. People, someone up there, whoever it was, saying, "Oh, Sam, you got what you wanted." Yeah, I want my club to be an absolute shit show. I want my club to be the circus that everyone points and laughs at. I want my club to sack managers and to keep repeating cycles. That's exactly what I want. Oh, well done, yeah. No. But Ineos did not believe, and I said, 2 weeks ago? I said, I've lost faith, some faith in Erik Ten Hag and the system that we're working towards. I don't think that change is going to be coming, and it never did, and it got worse. And Ineos have made the call. I'm excited about Rue coming in an interim basis. He was a head coach at PSV, but there's going to... Geez, you can throw all the questions you want about Ruud van Nistelrooy. Oh, he hasn't got any managerial experience of managing at the top level. Yeah, he doesn't. But Ruud has managed PSV, left there, circumstances. Maybe we'll look into those a bit more. But if you want to know more about Ruud van Nistelrooy, there are 2 videos that I've already done on this channel. I've done a deep dive into his actual tactical approach, and I've also done a deep dive into Ruud van Nistelrooy himself and his career. You can go and look at what he did at PSV. You can go and look at the youth teams that he worked with what the players said about him. You can look at what he did in that season at PSV and why he left. And I probably need to look into that a little bit more. But Ruud van Nistelrooy, what you're witnessing now in real time is why Ruud came in during the summer. Because Ruud van Nistelrooy was the safety net for Ineos. I think without Ruud van Nistelrooy, I question whether Erik ten Hag would have been given the opportunity to stay as Manchester United manager. Because with Ruud van Nistelrooy, as has been confirmed officially by the football club, he is going to be coming in as interim manager. And if anybody sort of misconstrues what that means, that doesn't necessarily mean until the end of the season. There is no time frame on what that is. That is Ruud van Nistelrooy taking charge of Manchester United until Man United appoint a new manager. Whether that is in May, whether that is in February. My personal opinion is that it will be Ruud until the end of the season. Unless we just... No, in fact, I'm not even sure it would be unless. I just think it will be Ruud until the end of the season. And the Man United would agree a manager to come in during the summer. Because if Man United were now to try and approach anybody, you can have conversations about Nagelsmann, Thomas Frank, Xavi, and all the other managers whose names are going to be on the list. And I will cover everything on this channel, just like I have with everything I do. But trying to get any of those managers mid-season, first of all, is going to be more expensive and more difficult. Second of all, you're putting that new manager who is going to be Ineos' first manager that they've chosen, that they've appointed by Barada and Ashworth. This is our man that we have belief in achieving that goal. Remember what Barada said. Man United to win the Premier League by 2028. If that is the vision, they have to choose their man for it. And I very much doubt they choose to bring in their man in the middle of a season that somebody else started. That's a personal opinion. Sylvia saying, is the title true? If anybody is just tuning in, here is the official club statement directly from Manchester United that was released now 20 minutes ago. There's no clickbait here. Club statement. Erik ten Hag has left his role as Manchester United. That is official on screen. I'm going to go down here and read some more of your comments out. As many as I can. There's a few super chats there. I don't like missing any super chats. Let me read these out. Jibak saying Erik should have left after the FA Cup final. Having won the trophy, 8th in the league, should be inexcusable. See, I disagree. I thought Erik ten Hag should have been afforded the opportunity. Now, lots of you who felt that he should have been sacked, you will feel far more justified in your opinion. And I would say fair play. I thought it was, and maybe I made a mistake in that. Well, I think it's obvious that Ineos made a mistake because we're 14th in the table and they're sacking the manager mid-season. So I think it's fair to say they made a mistake. Arbelon saying, doesn't Ruud have any influence on Ten Hag's tactics? If he had, his tactics really don't work either. If you can try and, put a black mark on Ruud van Nistelrooy before he's even taken one coaching session as head coach? Okay, that's cool. Halftime Orange is saying this should have been sorted in the summer. Now it's turned into the same nonsense of some fans thinking the players aren't good enough. I think that's... This Man United squad is so much better than we are playing. I've said that all the time. Way, way, way better. And maybe we'll start seeing that. Sign saying, I still can't believe that the players like Mount are in while the manager is sacked. When Barada mentioned the vision is to win the league by 2028, who is the manager to deliver that? Surely not Ruud. Probably not Ruud. Hence why Ruud is only coming in as an interim manager. Now, bear in mind, when Manchester United gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job in a full-time role, right? after everything that happened that season. We had no football structure. The club were almost operating like fans on the momentum and the waves and the sentiments of fans. And that's what happened with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Again, that might be kept in hindsight. We all knew as soon as Solskjaer was appointed head coach, back of the mind, you were like, I hope that niggle in the back of my mind is wrong and that Solskjaer can do this. He can develop and he can be manager of United. And ultimately, those niggles at the back of your mind were proven correct. Those same niggles are going to exist about Ruud van Nistelrooy because he doesn't have that experience at the top level. And we're going to have to do deep dives and lots of conversation looking into different managers and different choices. But the good thing is, ladies and gents, we're going to have time on our hands as a football club here. This is not a decision that Man United will rush. There won't be a panic to try and go and get Thomas Frank. There won't be a panic to try and bring in Xavi as soon as possible. There won't be a panic to try and lure Nagelsmann away from the German national team. That won't happen. This will not be something that they make just... It won't be a... What's it called? When you make a decision without really thinking about it. Impulsive. It won't be impulsive. Right now, it's Ruud until the end of the season, as far as I am concerned. Unless Manchester United... Well, no, I've said that again. I've just repeated that same damn thing. I just think it's Ruud until the end of the season. They might agree a deal. It's a bit like England announcing with Thomas Tuchel, but he's not starting until January. I could see that happening. Let me see what you're saying in the comments here. Sai, you're saying Ten Hag gave us something like James Morrison. He got United competing for honours after 6 years not doing so. Respect. Something like James Morrison. Am I missing a joke there? Can we just... Ten Hag made me believe that United were on the right path more than any manager post-Fergie. Genuinely didn't think it was a false dawn with Erik. Honest, hand on heart, I did not. I thought the way that he held himself before the FA Cup final after Jacob Steinberg's article saying he's going to be sacked regardless, I thought I was so impressed by that. I was so impressed by how he played in the final. And I thought we had a good summer. So for after all of that, for progress not to come, I'm sorry, Erik, but you've been afforded enough chances. And that's why I agree with the decision here. Even if it leaves Manchester United in October without a manager, even if it leaves Manchester United now with Ruud van Nistelrooy as an interim manager, I look at Ruud van Nistelrooy as an interim manager until the end of the season, and I look at Erik ten Hag continuing what he was doing. I see more optimism or more prospects for momentum changes happening under Ruud van Nistelrooy than I do under continuing with what we were doing with Erik ten Hag, which is why Ineos have made this choice. Zoeteng is saying we wasted another year. Honestly, Sam, what do you see in this manager? I can't believe people backed him. I've just explained myself there, man. I don't need to repeat it. What else are we saying down here? I'll say this once and one time only. I might even block the word Southgate in the chat, right? I might just do that. Because if people think they're going to try and drag me down into wasting energy on that whopper of a manager, no, you're not going to get that. And you're saying, I wanted to believe in him and I felt there was a chance, but he seems to have lost faith in himself. Well, that's what it reached with these last 8 games. Like Villa wasn't an Erik ten Hag philosophical approach. It was like, crap, flood's happening. Let's try and stop it. The identity wasn't there. Amorim's getting named. Hansi Flick's being named. Xavi's being named. Julian Nagelsmann's being named. There's going to be like 5, 6, 7. Like the manager merry-go-round will really, really start. And you know what's going to make this one more difficult than anything? I think for Manchester United choosing the right manager. Erik ten Hag for me ticked every single box I could have asked for when we got him in. The age that he was, a young and young per se, but a manager who I felt had his best years ahead of him, a manager who I felt had a philosophy that I could really understand and sort of grasp. And I got that wrong. I got it all wrong. Despite, in my opinion, before he came in, all the boxes being ticked. It's like what do I know? Is basically my point there. Not much. What I do know is I'm going to really, really enjoy watching Ruud van Nistelrooy in the dugout. I love Ruud. Man, he is the best finisher that we've had at this football club, in my opinion, in the Premier League. And I'm excited about the prospect. I do have sympathy for Erik ten Hag, but the time was absolutely correct. I am surprised by it, though. Surprised that it's happened as quickly as it's happened this morning. I'm going to go down and read some more of your comments. What else are you saying down there? Another super chat. Finishing 8th and last in the Champions League group is statistically the worst manager we've had is something you believed in. It's not only the last 8 games. I know it's not the last 8 games. I've already explained to you. I mean, how many times do I have to say it before people listen? I felt after the FA Cup final and doing it against City and showing what he showed, I felt he should be afforded, right? One more chance. I thought that he should be afforded this season to show that development. And I think, he was, but he didn't. Now, there's no point me... All right, type it in the comments now. I'll see which names pop up the most. Who do you want as United's next full-time manager? Fire it in. Because now we can have a conversation about it. You know, anytime we've seen it in the press about, Nagelsmann in talks here, I said, what's the point? What's the point in having all the speculation? Now that we know that Manchester United have replaced Erik ten Hag, and we've got Ruud van Nistelrooy as an interim manager until the end of the season, now you can have conversations about who potentially should be in the hot seat next. I'm going to see what comments come in here, all right? There's no point doing a poll because there's more than 4 names. I'll be here all day. Zidane, not for me. And this is all just sort of instinctive opinion. Before I've done the research and really looked into how I don't particularly think Zidane would be a good fit, and I definitely wouldn't say Xavi would be a good fit. I think Xavi and Ten Hag would probably have a lot of similarities in the problems that they had tactically. Unai Emery. Are people actually saying that, man? Unai Emery's done such a good job there. Nagelsmann is definitely going to be a name that comes up a lot. Ruben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. I would put him on the exact same sort of, in the exact same position as I would have put Erik ten Hag before he came in. That young manager, great philosophy, done great in his own domestic league. Will tick a lot of boxes. Simone Inzaghi. Nah, I can understand a lot of calls for Simone Inzaghi, if I'm honest. The system that he plays at Inter, the way that Inter play, I think that could be a shout. Xabi Alonso, right? Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if Manchester United try and go after Xabi Alonso. I would hesitate to say that he wouldn't do that because I think Ancelotti, in the way that Real Madrid's going, I think it would just the succession plan seems quite obvious at Real Madrid with Xabi Alonso. So I wouldn't probably want United to spend too much time wasting. But I don't want to see United waste too much time by going after him. T-Vox, you're saying, I don't want any particular manager. This is a chance for Ineos and the leadership structure to choose someone who they believe they will fit. And that's a really good comment. This is going to be, right, the first time for Manchester United where the manager is chosen to play a specific way. A game model that we thought we were going to see this season under Erik ten Hag, and the game model never ever came through. Ineos will bring a manager in to fit the game model that they choose. And if you're looking at how United approached the first half, you could cherry pick moments this season in terms of how we played and go, that's the beginnings of the game model right there. They will want a team that can play out from the back with the ball, that can hold possession, that can genuinely control a game of football, but also has the blistering ability to scare and terrify a team on the counter-attack out of nowhere, to flick through the transitions, to go from level 1 to level 10 in the blink of an eye. That's a game model that they will want. And some of the managers down here will not tick those boxes. So that I'm going to be doing plenty of research before I decide to sort of choose the one I feel should be right for Manchester United. Lionel Scaloni, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Nagelsmann, Michael Carrick, Sebastian Hoeneß, of course, at Stuttgart. He's done a lot of good stuff there. Mohamed saying he got sacked when he played Mazraoui as number 10. That was a rogue call. I think even Erik knew it was rogue. It was the right time. And lots of you will say, well, no, Sam, you're completely wrong because the right time was last summer after the FA Cup. And then lots of you will say, well, no, Sam, actually, because the right time was after Aston Villa. Everybody, and this is one thing I would really like to say here to everybody in the comments and everybody watching. This isn't a time to, like, brag. Like, look, I was right, by the way. Oh, you should listen to me. It's not a case of saying, this is not a good thing for United in any way, shape, or form for us to be sacking a manager. The fact that it was the right decision, there's no bragging about it. I'm not going. My tipping point may have been further down the line than you, but it's not something to brag about. So just that's kind of just an encouraging thing I would like to say to the chat, because otherwise it can just get a bit, I don't know, just like fighting for the wrong reasons. Chris saying, are we looking at a next summer overhaul? I don't think we are at all. I think this squad that we have assembled, while not perfect, there is a lot of good in this squad. All right? Remember that Lenny Yoro is never going to play for Erik ten Hag. Lenny Yoro's debut in a Manchester United shirt will be under Ruud van Nistelrooy. And that's going to be just a new leaf. That's probably going to be a good thing for him, coming into what feels like a new and fresher environment. And maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy will switch to 3 at the back. Maybe, maybe not. Cyan saying, what about youth players now? They trusted Ten Hag. We have an awesome youth squad. I fear we might lose that. Ten Hag should have been replaced by Flick at the start of the season. Us fans don't deserve this uncertainty. I don't fear that we've lost that. Manchester United's academy teams are very well run. Under 18s, brilliant. Adam Lawrence done such a good job. Travis Binion with the under 21s as well. There is a good set of managers there, and they will control those youth teams. I don't think Ten Hag leaving loses all the faith. The pathways will still be there. All the coaching staff who are there will remain apart from Erik ten Hag. Now that's it's pretty unusual. Well, it's not unusual, I suppose. It's interim. Let me see what else is being said down here. If any other news has come out. Not quite yet. Right, let me pull this up. Everybody, please fire in your questions. Anything you want to ask me, anything you want to say. And if you are new to United People's TV, please do consider subscribing, because I will be covering. There's going to be a lot of more content coming out around new managers, potential managers, deep dives, mini documentaries. I'm going to cover it all. Right, what are we saying down here? The Dutch players aren't going to be... There's going to be players that won't be happy, of course. But it was the right decision. It really was the right decision, in my opinion. Luke Shaw. Jeez, man. Langaruni, I disagree there. I don't see this as Manchester United going back to square one. I firmly don't believe that. You know, in the same, like, if we rewind and we go back to when Solskjaer was sacked, that was after Watford, wasn't it? We go back to after Mourinho was sacked. Was that after the Liverpool game? I feel like it was. And just the feelings around the club at that time. And you compare it to now. I don't think this squad is awful. I think this squad is so much better. And I absolutely do expect a noticeable curve upwards. Right? Yeah, it's some lunchtime video today. Some lunchtime video. I'm sad for him, man. But truth be told, hand on heart, he made some massive mistakes as United manager. The one that's at the absolute core of it was his decision in the second season to switch the system to 1 number 6 and 2 number 8s and to buy according to that system. That's why Mason Mount was signed. Mason Mount was not signed as an alternative to Bruno Fernandes. Mason Mount was signed to play alongside Bruno Fernandes. I mean, it never worked. And that was £60 million that should have been spent on a powerful, athletic, dominant central midfielder. And instead it was spent on Mason Mount. And there's been other issues. And look, you can look back on it now. And that's what we're looking. Well, that's it. We're looking back on Erik Ten Hag. Oh, right, let's see. I'm going to read more of your comments out. It's not just about my opinion. It's about your opinion as well. Adam's saying he made absolutely nothing but bad decisions. That's fair for a lot of what you've seen this season. But Erik Ten Hag certainly had his moments, certainly had his games. And I think in that first season, as I said, the fact that I point back towards Ten Hag's first season as when I saw the best of it is, I think that's the problem summed up really there. And that's why Erik Ten Hag has been sacked. Bought too many players this season, can't run directly. I don't think we bought too much. I thought we had a really good summer. How did Ten Hag let Matej Kovar and Alvaro go? Wow, there's so many things you can put in. And you were asking about whether the second half against Brentford is the Ineos system. Well, I suppose we'll see when we watch Ruud van Nistelrooy. Now, something I can tell you about Ruud van Nistelrooy's tactical approach, or the research I did previously, Ruud really loves an emphasis on proper width. Did that at PSV, and he'll be doing that at Manchester United. He brought his own training drills into pre-season and fully expect real width to be held. Probably the inverted fullbacks to be gone. Overlapping fullbacks. Garnacho and Rashford cutting inside. Luke Shaw, whenever he's back, if he can play, probably can't play. And look, we'll see. We've got Harry Amass there. This is a Ruud has got an opportunity. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ruud will take the risks. And those risks may well pay off. There's going to be players inside that squad that he doesn't like. But we've got January transfer window coming up, and I don't think the decisions will be taken to make a squad better for Ruud van Nistelrooy. The decisions will be taken by Ineos to say, right, okay, which of these players have no place in this squad now that we're aiming towards our game model for our new manager coming in. Anthony is a player I fully expect to be leaving in January. And Anthony was, you can hold that up as probably the biggest single mistake that Erik Ten Hag made. And that was in his first summer. Alex, you're saying Ugarte clearly wasn't a Ten Hag signing. And I'll be honest, I partly agree with that because the majority of what we heard about that was I wouldn't sell McTominay unless I had to. Was effectively what Erik Ten Hag said. But Ugarte, people judging Ugarte now, people are mentioning Sancho in the comments. I want Sancho absolutely nowhere near my football club. Not even 1% of me thinks I'd love to see Sancho given another opportunity under sod that. Didn't work under Ole, didn't work under Radnick, didn't work under Ten Hag. You go and just do what I don't care what he does. I don't care how many goals he scores or how many assists or how great he plays under Maresca at Chelsea. Stay there. I do not want Sancho back at this club. Do you think Ruben Amorim would be a good fit? I can't say. You could look at probably, off the top of my head, 5 to 10 managers, and you could say, well, there's reasons why they could be good. And it's up to Ineos to find the perfect man for their game model. Because whoever comes in is going to be tasked with winning the Premier League within 3 years. That's a massive ask, given that this is Erik Ten Hag's third year, right? Because Barada's already gone on record and said that this is our plan, to be winning the league by 2028. So whoever comes in, they're going to have to do it straight away. What is sent down here in the comments? Ruud for the... Look. Type yes or no. Just type yes or no, and I'm not going to do polls for today. Well, maybe we'll in a bit. Do you think there's any chance that Ruud van Nistelrooy has the opportunity to become full-time manager? Do you think that if he... Because there has to be part of it. Just hear me out here. And I'm not saying this is going to be the case, by the way. the way that Ruud van Nistelrooy plays football and his management and his tactical approach, there must have been part of it where Ineos felt that it kind of fitted their game model. Otherwise, they would never have brought him in as an assistant manager. They would never have agreed to it. Right? So if United, from this point on, my personal opinion is no. Thank you, but no. I don't know what I want next in a manager of Manchester United. Because I tell you what, I've tasted every bloody flavour of the rainbow. I've had a man who Fergie trusted and got spectacularly wrong. I've had the experienced seasoned professional in Van Gaal. I've had the devil in Mourinho. And then I've had the man I loved in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And then we've had, well, Ralf Rangnick. And then we had the man that I thought ticked all the boxes. And just none of these worked. Every single one, none of these have worked. Look, let's find out what happens under Ruud. Truth be told, it can't be any worse than what we've seen this season, which is probably part of the reason why Ineos have done that. Ineos lost faith in Erik ten Hag, and they reached a point where they said, okay, well, we've got two decisions. So we're going to sack him. So do we do it now and see if Ruud can bring in a new energy between however long it takes us to either announce or appoint a new manager, or do we just continue down this path and just work in the background? They decided no. They decided that Erik ten Hag should be sacked. And anybody who's just tuning in now, yes, this is official. This is the club statement. Erik ten Hag has left his role as Manchester United's first-team manager. He was appointed in 2022, won the League Cup and the FA Cup. We are grateful to Erik for everything he has done during his time with us and wish him well for the future. Ruud van Nistelrooy will take charge of the team as interim head coach, supported by the current coaching team, whilst the permanent head coach is recruited. So that means that Andreas Georgson, who was brought in as the set-piece coach, he stays. That means that René Hake will just be Manchester United's assistant manager now, working with Ruud van Nistelrooy. Rubelard, the goalkeeping coach, he was brought in. He's staying. Everything that was built behind the scenes stays. It's just that Erik ten Hag has been taken out. And he is now no longer in charge of that. And instead, Ruud van Nistelrooy is. And this is a decision that Ineos have made. Now, there's no point repeating arguments, all right, about... You've all been proven correct. Okay? He should have been sacked in the summer. I think this season has shown that. Enough evidence has come here that my optimism and my belief that Erik ten Hag could develop this season was misplaced. I admit that now. It's not something to, as I said, it's not something to brag about and sort of like get one up on your mates. Like, you're all United fans. All of you ultimately want to see United lifting all the pots. That's what we all want, collectively. Well, I was wrong about Erik. My opinion on what will happen with Ruud van Nistelrooy is I expect there to be a massive buzz now. We've got, 4 games until the international break. But it won't be like the last international break. It will be like an energizing one. Everyone's just going to be buzzing and excited for what's coming back, because what happens after the next 4 games, who is it? Let's run through what Ruud van Nistelrooy's first 4 games as Manchester United manager are, right? Here you go. Ruud's first game in charge is on Wednesday night against Leicester at Old Trafford, a League Cup game. What seemed like an insignificant one is now a big one. Then we've got Chelsea at home, 2 home games, 3 home games, 4 home games to start for Ruud van Nistelrooy. That may well be what made the decision for Ineos. 4 home games to be at Old Trafford with an energised Old Trafford. That's a perfect way to introduce Ruud van Nistelrooy to Manchester United. Then after that, we go and we play Ipswich, Bodo Glimt, Everton at home, Arsenal away. A huge game there. But before our big test, well, we've got Chelsea at home. Before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 home games for Ruud van Nistelrooy. That's definitely why they've made this decision now. I didn't even realise that. 6 out of our next 7 games are at home. Old Trafford will welcome Ruud. Will cheer. I feel for Erik. But it was the right choice. I don't feel for Erik completely. Because a lot of the football has been atrocious. I don't think he developed. I don't think he progressed. The pressing system, I swear, Ruud, if I'm asking you to do one thing, please, my God, get this pressing structure organised. I swear that is, I'm telling you, the press is at the centre of why Manchester United are just not good enough in or out of possession. Now, Ruud, I think, will probably be looking at the Europa League going, that's what I want. Top 4, it's not impossible. What we are, 7 points off, I think we are. Let's find out. Will Thomas Frank fit? We'll find out there. Another year wasted, says Vivian. Yeah, I think it's right to say that. Because it's another year now where it's change. It's not a year of progression and aiming towards what we wanted to be. I think I predicted United to finish 3rd this season. We're 14th. It's fair to say I got that one wrong. Amazing what a bunch of chumps United fans are. Oh, thank you very much, Carl. What does Ruud need to do to get the permanent job? As in my personal opinion, is I don't think Ruud will get the permanent job. No matter what happens. I don't think Ineos will be swayed by sentiment. Hey, look. If Ruud wins 25 games in a row, he's probably going to get the job. But don't think he will. And I don't think Ineos will be looking at Ruud. I don't think they will rule him out. I think that will be very unfair. But I very much think they're going to be looking at bringing in a new head coach. Personally. Season starts on Sunday, says Frogman. Season starts on Wednesday, dude. We're about to watch a Ruud van Nistelrooy-led Manchester United coming out at Old Trafford. Now, it is like Solskjaer Part 2, isn't it? I remember that. And I loved it. Pogba for those 3 months ended up being the form player in Europe. I would expect Marcus Rashford to all of a sudden make goal scoring look easy. That would be a prediction of mine. I would say just a lot of these players. There's going to be players like, I would worry about Lisandro Martinez. I think he'll be affected probably the most out of our squad on Erik ten Hag leaving. Because they had a massive bond. Of course they did. But Lisandro Martinez wants to be successful as a Manchester United player. And he will want to be successful. He's not going to throw his toys out of the pram. Not what I'm saying. I think he'll be affected by it. Mo's saying, tell you the play style of Ruud van Nistelrooy. Let me just get the link to the video. All right, let me see if I can find it quick. Van Nistelrooy Tactics United People's TV. There you go. Here's the link to the video on Ruud van Nistelrooy's tactics, all right? Go and watch that. I did that 4 months ago, so you can go and watch it. Akash is saying, just like the audit, Ineos will take forever to make a decision on a new manager. They panicked here for me. I don't think they panicked in at all. I disagree with you there, Akash, that Ineos panicked here. I think this was a decision that they made, and they've been thinking about for a good while. I think it's far from panic. But they will take their time on appointing a new manager. I would be amazed if I saw Manchester United make a decision on a new manager before the end of the season. No, sorry, my bad. I'll be amazed if Manchester United made a decision on a new manager before January. I would expect nothing until then. Well, you'll see news, you'll see managers being linked, but I wouldn't expect like an official announcement. They're going to take their time. Right. I think quite a few of you have pointed this out. This is live and direct, people, so there's going to be stuff that happens. Bruno has just gone on Instagram and sent a message to Erik Ten Hag. So let's read through this together. All right. I wonder when the players found out. Maybe at the same time as we did. Right. Zoom in a little bit there. This is a message from Bruno to Erik Ten Hag. Goes, thanks for everything, boss. I appreciate the trust and the moments we shared together. I wish you all the best for the future. Even knowing the last period hasn't been great from us all, I hope you fans can keep with you the good things the manager has done for our club. I think Bruno wrote that in a little bit of a rush. I remember when Erik Ten Hag said that Bruno was like I think he said he was like a direct reflection of my personality on the pitch. I remember him saying that. I think that was in the first or second season. Can't remember. It's there or thereabouts. Let me make sure I haven't missed any super chats down here from anybody. Sridget, you're saying, unless the player FC is not kicked out, even Pep or Klopp would not be able to do anything with us. Player power is a problem at United. Player power has been a problem at United for a long time. I don't think we're player FC right now. I've said that. I don't think players are downing tools. I don't think players are in charge of Manchester United in ways that they were before. However, there are quite a few of these players that are playing well below the basic requirements of being a Manchester United player. And we all know that. And until you get the basics right, you can't talk about anything else. Mania saying, what Bruno said is exactly what I want fans to feel. There's nothing to celebrate, and he'll have my respect in the end. I'm not going to celebrate Erik Ten Hag going. I can, at the same time as thinking Erik Ten Hag should go, not celebrate it. Both of those things can exist at the same time. Right. Cedric saying, I've just listened to a voicemail from Laurie. Well, you got a little voicemail from Laurie. So, decision was made this morning, followed by a team meeting. I imagine they all found out at the training ground. Boy, well, I'll tell you what, we've got some busy times here on United People's TV. It was always busy anyway. But with the type of content I try to do on here, I'm going to have to start researching. But anybody who's just tuning in, where have you been? Second of all, Erik Ten Hag has been sacked. Okay? An official club statement just under an hour ago confirmed it. Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to be our manager until the end of the season. Thank you to Erik, man, for the League Cup, for the FA Cup, for genuinely making me believe again. I believed more under Erik Ten Hag than I did under any other manager post-Fergie. It felt like the dawns weren't false. It felt like the progress and development was genuine. And then it didn't. And the decision to tactically shift in the second season hurt him the most. And we never, ever recover from that. I expect there to be a massive buzz. I expect there to be a massive surge from United. And I expect us to come out against Leicester and Chelsea in front of 75,000 fans at Old Trafford, full of energy and looking like United did in the second half against Brentford. There will be a new manager bump, just like there was under Solskjaer. It doesn't mean that I think Van Nistelrooy should be getting the job full time. But let's find out what happens. But that is the end of Erik Ten Hag. It was the right time. And for a lot of you, it was too late. Well, that wasn't a video I was expecting to do today. But yeah, if there's more stuff that comes out across the course of the day, okay, I will bring that to you. Thank you all for tuning in here. Thank you all for firing your messages in. I appreciate it was a busy show, and I appreciate I haven't been able to answer all of your comments. But it's a busy time, man. I don't think anybody can really argue against the fact that Erik Ten Hag is gone. You might try and suggest that this is just the pattern being repeated, and the Manchester United, now we can go back to square one and we can start a 4-year cycle again. And I would disagree with you. And I would say that it was necessary. And this is the first of a new cycle. This will be the first appointment made by Ineos and made by Barada and Ashworth. I don't think we're going to go back to square one. I think we've already got a lot of pieces in place with this squad we've got. Now, more is needed, sure, yeah. But I don't think we're going to be ripping this squad. You know, in the same way that we ripped the squad of Mourinho up for Solskjaer, and we ripped the squad of Solskjaer up for Ten Hag. I don't think we're going to be ripping this squad up at all. Do we still need more? Yeah, of course we do. We need at least one, I would argue 2 central midfielders. We need another striker, for sure we do. We need another winger. I'd say 4 or 5 signings, probably still away from being a really top-level squad and the right players going out the door. But I don't think this is us ripping up and starting again. This is us taking out Erik Ten Hag as the head coach and figuring out exactly who we want to place in to do what we expected to do. That's what it is, and that's why it feels different to me. Thank you all for tuning in. Eric's gone. Well, you're going to have a busy week ahead, all right? Take it easy.